What's up guys, it's Aaronitmar. So obviously the recolors and costumes in Smash are a big deal on my channel, but Smash Ultimate doesn't have 100% perfect color schemes. Some are simply not accurate, some are entirely missing that were previously in the game, and some could just be better than they are right now. So today I made a few mock-ups for certain skins that either could be in Smash Ultimate or are in Smash Ultimate but simply aren't as good as they could be, and I just thought that I would share them with you guys. So first up, I made a mock-up for Fire Mario. Now obviously this wasn't added back in Smash Ultimate, it started in Brawl and then returned in Smash 4, but it was cut from Smash Ultimate. And the reason was because Wedding Mario is added as an alt in the game and the color scheme is very, very similar. And I think they wanted to limit everyone to 8 costume slots this time, so if one of them had to be removed, it was going to be Fire Mario because they're already really close as it is, so it just made sense to remove that one. But for the sake of just it returning, I went ahead and made a mock-up for Fire Mario. And then I went ahead and made the blue Mario alt that was in Smash 64, Melee, and Brawl, but has since been cut in Smash 4 and Ultimate. This is basically the inverse of his default appearance. It gives him a blue hat and shirt rather than a red hat and shirt, and it gives him red overalls instead of blue overalls, so it kind of just swaps the colors around. And I believe it's based on a sprite and some art from Japanese box art of Mario Brothers or Super Mario Brothers or something. I don't exactly remember. It might be the arcade version. But this, I always kind of was a fan of this color, so I was always a little upset that it was cut, but I do like what it was replaced with, which was the brighter blue and pink color scheme, so I'm okay with what it was replaced with, but I do sometimes miss seeing it in the game, so I went ahead and made a mock-up of it. And just for fun, let's change the L on Luigi's hat to be yellow to actually reference Waluigi. I mean, it's still a Waluigi reference, it just never made sense to me why they made the L purple this time. I think it was like that in Smash 4 too, but it definitely wasn't in Brawl, so I'm not sure why they made such a weird change when it still references Waluigi at the end of the day. I then made Super Kongs for both Diddy and Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong obviously already has the full white alternate, but the tie color was not correct, so I just went ahead and changed that really quick. A lot of people assume the white Donkey Kong is a Super Kong reference, even though it predates the actual Super Kong, but just changing the tie makes it Super Kong anyway, so it doesn't really matter. For Diddy Kong, I had to change the actual full fur because he only has a blue alternate, but his fur is still brown, so I had to go and change the fur to white. Kind of seems like a missed opportunity for that one. Diddy Kong really doesn't actually have a ton of fur changes. It kind of just does varying shades of brown, which is weird because Donkey Kong has full fur changes. I mean, I guess it's because Diddy Kong wears clothes, so they can just change that. But it seems like it would be cool to change both the clothes and the fur. But regardless, here is at least Super Diddy Kong. Lucario is a character whose colors have always bothered me because they're all mostly just shades of blue. There's 2 purple, 4 blue, and then a black and a green. Some of those are really good, like a purple, a green, a black, those are great, but just the different shades of blue and then the duplicate purple really bothered me. So what I went ahead and did was made a white Lucario alt that is kind of the opposite of the black Lucario alt. Then I went ahead and made a red alt because there's already a green and a blue, so it makes sense to have a red one. And then, of course, Shiny Lucario. Always bothered me that Shiny Lucario wasn't in this game, but there's always a thing with the shiny forms. I don't know why the shinies aren't in the game. I imagine it has something to do with the Pokemon Company not wanting them in, but they make exceptions for some and then others don't. I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But following that train of thought, I made a shiny Charizard, a shiny Greninja, and a shiny Mewtwo. All 3 of these have references to shinies, but they don't have their real shinies. Charizard references his Gen 2 shiny form, which is totally different from his current shiny form, so I went ahead and made the black Charizard with the red wings. Greninja actually is probably the closest of the 3, but he's got flesh-colored bits that aren't black that need to be black in his shiny, so I changed that. And then I made the tongue color match as well because it doesn't match. Mewtwo, of course, is just a green Mewtwo, and it's weird because this one was in Melee. I know it was kind of wrong with the eye color, but it was still in Melee, but then it didn't return in Smash 4 and Ultimate, so that always confused me, but I went ahead and made green Mewtwo as well. The other Pokemon all have their shinies, although the only one that is really substantially different is Incineroar, who is the white colored version of him. But Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Pichu, and then Squirtle and Ivysaur, they all have their shinies, but because they are so similar already, it doesn't really seem as drastic as the ones that I had to remake. So I don't know why there's such a weird thing about the shiny Pokemon. I mean, obviously the Smash team wants them in the game, which is why they have their references and why they have old versions of shinies like Mewtwo and Charizard represented in the game, but not their current versions of shinies, which makes me think that it's probably somewhere along the Pokemon company saying, all right, well, you can't have shiny Lucario in the game, otherwise we'll shoot you. I don't know. It seems weird to me, but I went ahead and made them anyway because why not? Next up, really quickly, I made Black Yoshi. Of course, in Smash Ultimate, Black Yoshi did not return because it was replaced with Crafted Yoshi as an alternate costume, and personally, I think this is actually a misplay. Not only is Crafted Yoshi still so basic that it just seems to look like another green Yoshi, but I don't really like how they executed it in the game. The actual render looks okay, but when you get into the game, it actually just doesn't look really great. And I think that replacing a different colored Yoshi with a second form of green Yoshi kind of is just a little redundant, even if that second form has a little different to it. I just think that all of the colors of Yoshis was perfect, and so having a second green Yoshi just seems kind of dumb to me. And then in a similar vein to Lucario having a bunch of shades of blue, I also did some Sonic recolors. I did one based off Knuckles, one based off Super Sonic, one that was just green, and then I did one based on the color scheme of SBO because I've always kind of liked that color scheme. They're just different colored versions of Sonic that aren't all blue or just a different shade of blue. I think Smash Ultimate did a better job this time at trying to distinguish them with the shoes and the wristbands. I think that they are a little more vivid than they were in Smash 4 and definitely more than they were in Brawl, so that at least you could tell a difference more than just the fur color. But if Sonic didn't have to be different shades of blue, which I can only assume is because Sega told Nintendo, told Bandai, told Sakurai, whoever, that he needed to be different shades of blue in his alternate costumes, then they could do different varying colors like this, and I think that that would be really, really cool. Sonic does have some good ones, the blue one, the black one, the white one, there's even one that looks almost purple, but combine those with some of the custom ones that I've made here, and he would have a very rich option and a very rich set of costumes to choose from. But unfortunately, he just has blue, blue, dark blue, or light blue. Again, in a similar vein is PacMan. There are a couple ways that we could mess with PacMan. We could do something like this, where the boots and the gloves were changed even though they wanted to keep him yellow, and I think that would still be better than what we had in Smash 4. Or we could go the whole hog and do something like this, where he is actually completely changed colors. Now this red one here is obviously based on one of the ghosts that is in the PacMan series. I don't remember the name, so I'm sorry. But the blue one also is based on the ghost, but the ghost, when PacMan eats one of the bigger pills and they become blue and then PacMan can eat them. I just think something like this would be better simply because PacMan really just doesn't have very good colors. They change they don't change the gloves or the boots really, they change the wrists on the gloves and like a little tiny thing on the boots. The biggest difference is of course the oven mitt alternate, but even then that's still similar colors to normal PacMan. Even if they had just changed the gloves and boots and kept PacMan all yellow, that would have been perfect. But, you know, whatever, the company decided that's what they wanted, and so that is what ended up in Smash. Speaking of characters that are hard to tell the difference on their alternate colors, Palutena actually has some decent colors on her dress, but really gets overshadowed by the sheer amount of hair that is on her head, and that stays the same color for every single costume. So I whipped up some of these, which change the color of Palutena's hair to match the actual color scheme that she is sporting in each costume. The only exception is the last one, which is based on Medusa. I simply changed slightly the shade of the green because that is actually what Medusa's hair vaguely looks like, but the others are all based on just the actual color scheme of the dress. An alternative would to be having it match whatever the character is based on, although most of them coincidentally match the dress color for their hair color too. For example, the Dark Pit one obviously would just have dark hair. but I think these would just definitely stand out more. We have a character in the game, Lucina, whose hair color changes for every single alternate. I don't know why they don't take advantage of this for more characters. Palutena has such nice hair, actually, that it would look cool in different colors, and it would really benefit the actual color schemes as well. I don't know why they don't do that more. And lastly, I made 3 different Game & Watch colors. I made a yellow that's more vivid because the other one is kind of like puke yellow. And then I made orange and purple, both of which aren't a color, for Game & Watch's options, which is weird because he's got like 3 different blues, so it would have been easy to fill those spots. But regardless, these are some Game & Watch colors. They're really easy to make. I can make a color for every single color that there is because it's basically the equivalent of just using the paint bucket tool, but these are just the ones that I felt would fit perfectly in his actual set. And then just for fun, I made a couple of Megaman alternates, not because I thought Megaman could do with some better colors, because his are actually some colors that I am quite pleased with. Every single one is very nice, but just because Megaman has a ton of colors that can be chosen, that it just seemed a waste to only have 8 of them. So I picked a few from a few different Mega Man games. I looked up all of the color combinations that he has across his whole game library, and I just made a couple for Smash. And then the yellow and blue one is, of course, the infamous ugly Mega Man from the Mega Man 1 box art, because how could you not reference that? Come on, Sakurai. But yeah, those are pretty much all of the different recolors that I personally made for this video. Obviously, there are a ton that can still be made, and if you guys have suggestions down in the comments, I may follow this up with a part 2 based on your feedback, because like I said, there's plenty to pull from, both for actual references and just nice colors that characters don't have. Most of the characters in the game have very, very good skins, but some of them could do with some tweaking, and so if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button. If you're new, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out, have an awesome day.